You're tuned in to Love Talk with Angel Dion, where we have real conversations, real healing, and real love. Welcome to Love Talk, everybody. My name is Angel Dion, and I am your host. Whether you're new here or whether you are a Love Talk family member that has returned, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here on Love Talk because this month on Love Talk, we are talking about reclaiming your peace, ending the year with self love, boundaries, and clarity. This episode of Love Talk, we're talking about boundaries that protect your peace. And I found the most amazing guests that I can find to help us with this conversation, to talk to us, have a conversation with us about this topic, Miss Amira Davis, who is a boundaries and mindset coach. Welcome to Love Talk. How are you doing today?
I'm very good. How are you?
I am doing so good. I'm actually really excited about this conversation because let me I'm changing my language. I had the habit of being a people pleaser, and boundaries has been something that I have been practicing for a while, not a while now, but I've been practicing, and I must say it's kind of difficult, but it feels good and it hurts at the same time. So I know if I'm feeling like that, my audience may be feeling the same way. So I think you are going to be the perfect person for this topic today. But before we jump into the conversation, I do something called rapid fire with my guests. I am a self love coach. So I just like to have a little self love rapid fire questions for my guests.
All
And
right.
these questions, don't think too hard about it. Just shoot out whatever comes to mind, okay?
Okay.
Okay, let's see. The first one. What's your alter ego name when you're feeling confident?
Lioness.
Ooh, okay. Um, oh, this is an alignment with the conversation. How do you say no with love?
Let me pause and think about that.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Okay. I like that one because a lot of times for me, a lot of times I answer fast and then I'm like, man, I go and I'm like, I really don't want to do that. I
Yep.
like that one. Okay, back to our questions. Who taught you about your work?
Oh my gosh. I was self-taught.
Mm, I like that. Okay, last one. What's something you've outgrown?
Oh gosh. I've outgrown letting people um, say what my worth was.
That's a big one. That is a big one. So let's jump into today's conversation. And hey, everybody joining in the comments. Hey, Brianna. Hey, everybody. Y'all make sure y'all tap in the conversation today. Get your journals, get everything, get your notebooks, your pens, get ready. If y'all have questions for our guests, make sure y'all put them in the chat because I really want this to be an engaging topic. So before we jump into it, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So my name is Amira Davis. I live in upstate New York. I am 52 years old. I have three children. My youngest is 23. My oldest is 32. She'll be 32. And my middle he just turned 30. Um, Married when I was very, very young, worked in corporate America for a really long time, and got to the point where I felt like people weren't valuing my worth, and I wasn't valuing my worth either. And my husband and I have a business that we did part time. And when I was having some medical issues related to boundary setting and some other things, I think it got to the point where I realized that if I stayed where I was, I probably would not still be here. And I don't mean that in a, I'm not exaggerating. I really wouldn't have been here still. And so a lot of things happened, but I think it got to the point where he just said, you can either leave or I'm not going to have you anymore and I want you around. So we decided that we would run the business full time. I would. And I'm a salesperson by nature. And so I think also a Scorpio. And so I realized, I said, well, I'm going to do this. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. And I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to let anybody see me fail. And I'm not going to let myself fail or my family. And so that's kind of how we got started with running the business full time. And then it just evolved over time into listening to so many women, especially talk about not being able to advocate for themselves and not being able to set boundaries and not being able to live the life that you really wanted to because you were always doing things to make other people happy. And I think I just felt like I need to say something because especially like when it came to health related issues and things like that. And you know what it's like for women, and then especially what it's like for Black women. It got to the point where things were being done medically with me that I was not happy with. And so I said, I'm going to do the research myself. And I did a lot of things that ended up fixing a lot of issues that I had. And I'm not a doctor at all, but I was able to advocate for myself and say, hey, can we look at this? Or, hey, can we do this? Because I wasn't getting answers that I thought that I needed. And so that's kind of how it evolved over time, which is how we got to Amira Evolved. That was the evolution of that. So, yeah.
I love it. And I love what you said about advocating for yourself. But tell us, what's the name of the business that you have?
So I have 3 businesses. I own D5 Consulting Group. We're in upstate New York. I also own the Collaborative Connection by D5, which is a social media marketing company. And then I also own Amira Evolved, which is boundary setting for midlife women. And, you know, I do a lot of keynotes I just did one at one of a pretty large credit union in the Northeast. So being able to speak about boundary setting when it comes to leadership, because, you know, working in corporate, you understand what that's like, and working with the dynamics of how people treat a lot of women. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. Like, women are treated differently than men. And so being able to speak up for yourself when it comes to leadership and just all those things. So those are the 3 businesses that I have.
And I just love how you and your husband, you all saw the issue, especially within yourself, what you were going through, and you created an avenue not only for yourself but other women. That's powerful, because a lot of times we will sit in our I'll call it misery, or sit in whatever we're going through and not think about other people, you know. So the fact that you thought about other people and how your story and how your testimony and everything that you're going through and went through can help other people, that's really powerful. And I want to talk more about the boundary setting. When it comes to protecting your peace, what does that actually look like on a daily basis?
I think there's times, like, you can tell in your heart when you're stressed about something. And I think sometimes when you reflect upon anything that's happening, like in your work life, in your personal life, in life in general, things that are stressing you out, and you realize, I'm stressed and it's because my peace is not where it should be. I'm letting things get to me that shouldn't get to me. And I think that's what we need to realize when it comes to protecting your peace. I think it's just making sure that your body, because you feel everything in your body. If you pay attention to the way your body is, you know when something's wrong, you know when something's right, you know when something's off. We just don't pay attention to those signals as much. But if you take a few minutes every day and just think about how you felt in that moment, or reflect, and that's why I'm so big on journaling. If you reflect on, let me look at what happened yesterday, and let me go over something that might have stressed me out. And if I look back on it and what it was that was stressing me out or making me feel uncomfortable or anything, your body will tell you if something is off. And so that's how you need to start protecting your peace, by looking at those signals and saying, okay, I reflected on the way this happened. Moving forward, this is how I'm going to protect myself so that I am not in the situation again.
Absolutely. And I think I kind of jumped the gun. I want us to really define what a boundary is. And then once we define a boundary, I want us to, or you to tell us why boundaries are so important.
I think a boundary, and it's different for everybody, right? I think it's saying what you will and what you won't accept. And I think for myself, being 52 now, I look back on things that I accepted in my teens, and then my 20s, and then my 30s, and things that I will not accept any longer. And it's not, I think that's where the boundary comes up, where you're saying there's things that I don't like, or I don't feel comfortable with, or that don't make me feel good, and I won't accept those any longer. And so the boundary is, it's not like I'm saying a hard no, but what it's saying is, this is how I feel, and you have to respect the way that I feel. And even if you don't agree, that's okay. But this is what I'm willing to accept or not accept anymore. And not even anymore, just in general.
And I know you focus on women 40 plus. Why women 40 plus? Like, why is that your niche audience?
I'm a Gen Xer, so I think it's interesting. I look at people of my daughter's age and, younger and older, a little bit older. I think we, especially, at least because that's my experience, we were trained to go with the flow. You do whatever somebody tells you to do. If somebody tells you to do this, you don't question it. You don't say that you feel uncomfortable with anything. And I think that was detrimental to us. It was for me, for sure. I think as we've gotten older, we've had kids and we've taught our kids, I didn't like the way this made me feel. And so since I didn't like it, I'm not going to make you do it. So I think the evolution for different generations is they're less willing to accept and deal with things that maybe we did. I think it's still important, but I just think that for my generation specifically, Gen Xers, we were taught to just put your head down and you do what somebody tells you to do and you don't question it. And even if it makes you feel uncomfortable, it doesn't matter. This is what you say to do and that's it. So
Okay, now let's talk about that. Because I'm 31. So I fall in the generation like with your daughter. And we are the generation, like you say, we're like, no, we're questioning things. We're going to therapy. We're trying to figure out, like for myself, the root cause of things and things like that. And I always say our job is not to bash the generation before us because y'all did, the best that y'all can do with what y'all had. And so for you, when you're looking at my generation and you are seeing that we are not just sitting down and we're speaking up for ourselves. So how does that make you feel as the generation that came before us?
I like it. So there's a couple things. I like it. I think sometimes, and again, I look at the generation above me, like my parents, like boomers. I think they're just, so for me, probably the way you guys feel about me and my generation is the way that I feel about my parents and their generation. And so I think it's great. I think that the generations below question things. Do I sometimes feel like, I just did an episode about this where I feel like, are people really quick to cut off their family members? And, my family hasn't done that, but I just think sometimes, do I think things go to an extreme? Sometimes. But I also think that it's good that you're questioning things because we weren't allowed to do that. So I think it's an important thing. So I like it and then I don't like it, but I think that's just, you look at 31, you look at probably 21, year olds and you're like, what are you doing? So it's good.
So let's talk about it. So I want to talk about boundaries and guilt. So oftentimes when we set a boundary, a boundary is for ourselves. That's what I'm learning. Boundaries are for yourself.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, I would speak for myself, I would set a boundary and then feel guilty about setting a boundary. And I know there are many women, especially like I'm a mother, I have 3 kids. Even boundaries with my kids. I'll set a boundary and I'm like, man, I feel guilty. I'm telling them, give mommy some space. And then I'm like, mom guilt. So that guilt comes in. So for the audience who may be just now setting boundaries, learning about boundaries, experience with boundaries, wherever they are in their journey, when they start to feel that guilt, can you give them some encouragement, some advice, just something when it comes to guilt and boundaries?
Don't feel guilty. And I'm going to tell you why. I actually just had a conversation with a friend of mine about this. We were talking about something, I don't even know what it was we were talking about. And she was talking about how she felt because of the boundary that I put down. And I said to her, you're making my issue about you. And it shouldn't be about you. It's about me. And this is the way that I feel. And you were saying, I think it was something like, maybe she was upset because I had spent time with somebody else or something. It was something dumb. But I said to her, I said, you're making my pain about you. And so I said, I have an issue with that because this is about me and you're trying to make me feel guilty because it's something that I feel. You can't do that. And if you do feel that, I'm sorry. And I think I'm at the point now where I'm like, I'm sorry that's the way it is. This is the way I feel. If you're not happy with it, you can go. I'm okay with that because I realize life is too short and friendships, as much as I want to say, and I always say this, friendships come and go, and you've got the friendships that are going to be there for the long haul, and you've got ones that are there for a reason. And I say this too, and this is just on a different topic. I think sometimes it gets draining when your life is spent being a dumpster for somebody else to have their pain. And so I think having to put a boundary up and saying, listen, it can't always be about you. It
Mhm.
can't always be about this. I can't, just because I'm a good person to talk to doesn't mean I need to sit here and listen to you complain about, it's always something. And so think about the way that makes me feel. I'm sorry for you and I want to be there for you when you need something, but it's draining to me
Mhm.
when I always have to listen to something about you. And how many times have you asked about how I'm doing or how something else is doing? So me having to put that boundary up and saying, this isn't right, this isn't fair. And if you're not okay with it, that's okay too.
Mhm.
And that just
And
comes with age.
and you saying that's okay too. That comes with having to go through that process. And I
Yeah.
just love that. For anybody just tuning in, you're tuned into Love Talk. This month on Love Talk, we're talking about your peace, ending the year with self-love, boundaries, and clarity. Today's episode is Boundaries That Protect Your Peace. And we are talking to Amira Davis, who is a boundaries and mindset coach. So in your line of work, what is one of the most common things that you see when it comes to women and setting boundaries?
Being afraid of the way it's going to make somebody else feel, or being
Mhm.
afraid of the way it's going to make somebody else think, or thinking that somebody else is going to be upset with them. Or, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to get fired. I don't want to have my boss hate me. I don't want to have my husband not speak to me. I don't want to have my children be upset because I didn't let them have something, or, do something that wasn't safe. So I'm going to let you be in an unsafe situation, like maybe go to a party or something that you didn't need to go to, but I don't want you to be mad. So even though I don't want you to go and my gut's telling me not to let you go, I'm going to let you go because I don't want you to be upset with me. So I think
Mm.
things like that are things that I see a lot. And like I said, in the workplace, a ton with, I don't want everybody at work to be upset with me because I spoke up and said something, which is probably why I'm not in corporate anymore, because I was the one who always speak up and say something and it didn't end up working out. But it ended up being, it was the best thing that ever happened to me that I left. So, um, and now I can talk about it. So
I love that. I love that, especially not just sitting down and letting things happen to you, because I've experienced that, just sitting down and letting things happen to you. And it like you said, it shows up in the body,
yeah,
literally shows up in the body.
it does. It does.
Everybody that I see some comments. Hello, beautiful ladies. Hello. I want y'all in the comments. If you're watching this, I need y'all to interact in the comments. Let us know a boundary that you either struggle with or a boundary that you're working on, so that we
Mm.
can, so that you all can get some help and some insight from our expert today. So let's give them some tools and resources, because I am really big on putting things in the toolbox for people. So can you create a simple script for someone to set a boundary, firm but with grace?
I think you always should say, and my husband and I teach this in our leadership classes, I think you should always say, give me a minute to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because your first reaction when anything happens is to say, yeah, sure, I'll do it, or sure, I'll take care of it. And 9 times out of 10, you don't want to do it. It's something that doesn't make you feel comfortable. So I think just being able to take a 3-second pause, which isn't as long as we think it is, taking a
Mm-hmm.
3-second pause and actually formulating what you actually want to say or how you're going to say it, and then saying how it is that you, being direct, this is how I feel, this is why, and this is what I'm going to do. And we can, it's not like a no, it's not like a yes, it's like, this is, I'm telling you why, and I'm telling you the reason. And it's not up for debate, because I think sometimes thinking that it's up for debate with somebody, I think that's where a lot of times that comes in too. I've had people work with me um, that are like, well, no, we're going to go back and forth. No, we're not. This is how I feel, and this is why, and it's not up for discussion
Mm-hmm.
anymore. But I think, again, as I've gotten older, I've been more comfortable doing that, and I've gotten more comfortable with being able to accept that not everybody's going to agree with you, not
Mm-hmm.
everybody's going to want to hear what you have to say, and that's okay, because 9 times out of 10 they'll come back anyway.
Yes.
And if they don't, it wasn't meant to. But you put that boundary up, and now they know next time how to treat you.
That's so true. A
Yeah.
boundary for me that I'm trying to set is, I am, and just to put my oh, somebody said non-negotiable. Yes, for
Yeah.
me is, I am, all, I'm not gonna say always. I have the habit of being late for things, but I realize
Oh,
that me being late and not being on time is showing people how to show up for me. And a boundary that I'm trying to set within myself is, yes, be on time and all of that. But I'm realizing that when I don't show up on time, it's giving people the authority to not show up on time for me. And it's like, no, you have to set that boundary. But first I got to get right within myself. And then I can set that boundary, you know. But that's something that I'm working on. But I want to talk about holiday triggers when it comes to boundaries, because this is the holiday season. You know, Christmas is right around the corner, Thanksgiving just passed, New Year's, everything. So I know a lot of people, they may have some holiday triggers when it comes to boundaries. I was having a conversation with some of my friends, and we were talking about how we're older now. We have our own family, you know, and we're out of state and things like that. And sometimes it can be overwhelming when, you know, we're expected to come in town, but we have our own families, you know. So when it comes to holiday triggers, I'm specifically speaking to women because that's my audience. That's my audience. So how can women advocate for themselves when family dynamics start to feel overwhelming?
It's funny you say that, because I just had this conversation with a family member. We were talking about something specific, and I remember saying to myself, it's something that could have made me mad years ago, where I would have gotten mad and upset about something. And I remember thinking to myself, it's not about me, it's about them. And so I'm just saying, you know, I think the reaction I gave was, I'll do what you guys want, but I'm worrying about my family. So if I'm talking about, you know, myself, my husband, my 3 kids, I'm worrying about the 5 of us and what we do. And this is how we're going to do what we do. And if you decide you want to do something else, that's okay. But this is how we're doing it. And that's just the end of it. So I think being able to say to somebody, we're starting a new tradition. Maybe this is our tradition, and we'll try to fit in with your traditions, but our family is going to be doing this. And if we get a chance, maybe we'll come over later for cake, or maybe we'll come over and see you or go to a movie or something. But the 5 of us, just like you guys have decided, you know, this is what you guys did when we were younger, or anything like that. This is how we're going to do things. And unfortunately, we don't have time for all of us to be able to get together all the time, if that's what you choose to or choose not to do. So I think just being able to, especially when it comes to family members with children, because you can't be in 15 different places at once, and be able to buy presents if you need to for everybody. So setting up a plan ahead of time. And I think that's also fair, is letting people know ahead of time what you're going to do, because even though I'm doing things with the 5 of us, it's not fair of me to not tell everybody else what we're doing. So I think, you know, being transparent with what it is that you're doing, but then putting up your boundary with, this is how our family is going to move. And if we want to try to negotiate there, that's up for negotiation, possibly, because it's a holiday. But at the end of the day, I'm going to do what works best for us based on the time that we have together.
Absolutely. Oh, boundaries. It's such a strong word, just boundaries in general, especially when you're in the midst of, well, my boundary journey. Now, one thing I heard you mention was journaling, and you mentioned that journaling is so important, and you're an advocate for journaling. I am an advocate for journaling as well. I have so many journals. I can go back to a journal from 2015. I literally was reading a journal last week, from a journal entry from 2017, when my best friend found out she was pregnant. So I'm just like, wow, I really have everything journaled. And you actually have the Shifted Self Journal. Am I correct?
I do.
The Shifted Self Journal, yes. So just tell us a little bit about the Shifted Self Journal and why journaling is so important.
I think so when we talked earlier about, say something happens at work or somewhere that you are, and you're wanting to reflect on what happened and why. The journal that I wrote is more, it's a guided one where it's like, how did your day go? Like, I have one. I'll send you one. Okay. So this is it. But like, the questions in here are like a daily reflection. Like, how do I feel? Tell me how you feel physically. How do you feel emotionally? Tell me what's taking up the most space in your head. So you reflect on what your day looked like, because it's a daily reflection. What's taking up the most space in your head? So you've got lines to be able to write that. Where did I show up for myself today? Because I think we don't think about that enough. Where did I show up for myself today? Was the whole day about work and I didn't pay attention to myself at all? I want to know, where did you show up for yourself? And if you didn't do it, I want you to do it tomorrow. or think about a way to do it tomorrow. What's one small thing I can do tomorrow to move forward? So I think this journal is more like it's not guided where it's asking you specific questions. It's more like, I want you to reflect on how your day went or how your week's going. And it's got 90 days to be able to change your mindset a little bit, because then you're going back and looking and saying, okay, this is how I felt yesterday. This is what I'm doing to move things forward. And it's got like reminders, like, make sure how many times are you sitting there during the day and you like drop your shoulders? Do it right now. Drop your shoulders. You don't even realize that your shoulders are most of the time up here. You don't even realize it. And you're like, drop your shoulders and take a deep breath. And you're like, wow, there's a lot of tension that sits there. And we don't even realize it until you sit there and say, I guess they were up pretty high during the day. No wonder I'm tense.
Yes.
So just little things like that. Drink your water, like just basic things that we don't do. I have a water bottle that I fill every single day. And I looked at it today. We were at a party and did a couple other things. You got your water? Yep. I didn't realize today I didn't drink any water at all today. I've been drinking tea. I was out doing a bunch of things. I think I had coffee somewhere, and I think I had a soda. I didn't drink water because my water bottle's sitting on my bed.
Oh, wow.
So I got to wash it, first of all. But second of all, I haven't drank any water today. I think a lot of us will do that. Like most of the time I do it, but I think I've just gotten so busy. I didn't even realize I didn't do it. So,
those small reminders are necessary. So let's do like an impromptu little 3 or 4 question thing from the journal. You can ask me and I'll answer them.
All right.
Y'all.
So
I can't even talk. You're going to tell them where they can get their journals after this.
Yes. All right. So how do you feel emotionally right now?
Happy.
Okay.
I'm happy because I'm doing Love Talk. Love Talk makes me extremely happy. So I'm emotionally.
Right. Where did you show up for yourself today, or where could you have done better?
Oh, this morning I woke up I got up out of my bed and I stretched. I turned on a stretch on YouTube and I stretched while everybody was still asleep, before work, before everything. So I really showed up for myself. I haven't done that in weeks, months. So I really showed up for myself by doing that.
So you should put that down, that you did that, and remember to do it every day. If it made you feel good, it started your day off well, right?
Yes.
Good. What's one small thing you can do tomorrow to move forward?
Positive self-talk. I realized today there was a lot of negativity in my mind, within myself, about myself. And as I am a self-love coach, but I go through that as well. I'm human, So I named my negative voice in my head Morel. So whenever those negative thoughts pop up, like an hour before Love Talk, I was like, not right now, Morel. I do not have it. So just, more positive self-talk I can do more of tomorrow.
And I think that's important for a lot of people. I think, and it's like muscle memory. You're training your memory, but I think the more you do it, the better you feel. And it's really uncomfortable and it feels really weird the first few times you do it. Look in the mirror in the morning and say really positive things about yourself. Mm-hmm. And it sounds funny to do it, but the more you do it, the more your self-esteem goes up, the more self-confident that you feel. It just takes a little bit, but you should do it every single day. I struggle with that. And I find that when I do act like that or do that, it's much better. So, all right, let me ask you one more.
Okay.
What's taking up the most space in your mind today?
Not feeling organized. I have a lot of moving pieces. I have the talk show. I have the nonprofit. I have my husband. I have my kids. I have a lot of moving pieces, and I do not feel organized in a sense. I just feel like I'm just running like this, but I just need to get more organized. I want to go into the new year with clarity, with peace, with boundaries. So that's taking up a lot of space in my head. It's like I have a lot of tabs open on my computer in my mind.
You sound like a younger version of me. It's so funny you say that, because we just started a not-for-profit. We have 3 kids. We're doing a lot of different things. And it's funny, I had said to somebody else, I was looking at my computer and I just ended up at a point where I was following Morgan DeBaun on Instagram. I follow her all over, but she's the CEO of Blavity. and she does a lot talking about like having a CEO mindset. And she was saying that you need to make sure that you take care of yourself. And when it comes to having so many different things open, delegating things that we probably as entrepreneurs have a little bit of a control issue with, but
Yeah.
being able to delegate so that you're able to do the things that bring you joy and to do the things that are CEO tasks. Like, what little things are we doing that we could probably delegate to somebody else that are going to allow us to be able to grow our businesses?
Wow.
So I think it's important. I'm also a business coach, so I
Okay.
have like a,
I
but
love you to it all.
yeah, my husband says it's too much, but I feel like I I'm not getting any younger, and he's allowed, not, I don't want to say allowed me because it's not allowed me, but we're in a position where I'm able to, because he has a full-time job that's a very stable job, able to do the things that I was able to do to grow the business so that when he retires, he can come and do this. We can do it together. So
Yes.
that's my goal.
About. I love that. I absolutely
Yeah.
love that. And everything that you do, it aligns, and I think that's the beauty of it. It aligns, it works together. And I really love the questions you asked me. And I love being interviewed or asked questions because I'm usually in the seat asking the questions. So I thank you for even asking me those questions so that I can think about it. And I am going to get me a journal. So let the people know where they can get them a journal from.
So if you go on Amazon and just type in the Shifted Self, it will be right on the Shifted Self journal, guided journal. It's right on Amazon. I think it's $12. So it would be a really good Christmas gift. It's a good stocking stuffer. It's 8.5 by 11 because my thinking was, I don't want you to take this and put it in your purse or something. I want you to have this where you're sitting and it's big enough that you can write things in it. And then I have quotes from a lot of women that I knew they just gave me quotes that we put throughout the journal. So it's nice to have. Somebody wrote, I don't have to, I won't try to be something that others think I should be. Live your strengths is my motto. So just having like little things throughout was nice.
I love that. And I'm a
yeah.
quote, so I love that. Quotes literally get me by. I have quotes everywhere. I quote things every day. I'm a quote girly, really and truly. So I just want to thank you so much for being on Love Talk. I love the conversation just about boundaries in general, our peace. We had so many different discussions. I love just your energy. And I didn't even know you were from New York. I am trying to get to New York so bad. I there one time in high school. I'm watching the Macy's Day Parade, but I love New York. I'm from New Orleans, and I want to end with these two questions. The first one: what makes you happy?
My family.
I love that. The last question of the night will be: what is a message that you would give to other women?
I would say, I don't know what this is. Let's go a little bit off. I would say to other women, make sure that you take care of yourself. Something happened with the microphone, I'm not sure, but I would say make sure that you take care of yourself. Make sure that you put your needs not below other people.
That's big. That's big.
Yeah.
And I just want to, again, thank you for being on Love Talk. Before I let you go, I want to open up the floor to you to say whatever it is that is on your heart.
I would say women just, I'm not sure, something's up with this.
You sound clear on my end.
Okay, good. All right. So I would say for women, make sure that you take care of yourself. I am a prime example, and I've got pictures of myself a couple years ago where I don't even look like I looked right now because I was so inflamed from making myself sick from worrying about what everybody else thought or everybody else felt. And I think as we get older, we just realize life is way too short. Advocate for yourself, take care of yourself, and help each other grow. I'm huge on empowering other women, especially if we work together more than we are trying to be in competition with each other, we can do so much more. And it really tweaks me to no end when I see women specifically that try to tear each other down or not work together. I just feel like if you collaborate and you work together, I might know somebody that you don't know, and I can push you in the direction of something else, or you can network. I also run a networking group with a friend of mine in upstate New York. And I just feel like that's one of the most important things is the power of collaboration is huge, and women can seriously do so much. We're the majority. We can do
Yeah.
so much if we were to work together, as opposed to trying to be the one. I think we were bred and thought when we were younger to think that there can only be one person who can be the best. And that's not the case.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
And I love my friends, because one thing about my friends, they have my name in rooms that I'm not even in. So the power of like just womanhood and, like you said, collaboration is very powerful. And somebody in the comments said Amira is a powerhouse. Great discussion. Yes, she is a powerhouse. This is my first time meeting you. You are, I can just listening to you talk, I can hear just the conviction and just the love that you have for the conversation, and especially knowing what you've been through as far as, you know, your story being your testimony, and now you're helping others. I am a story girl. I'm a journalist. So I love just to hear how people got to where they're at. So just hearing your story is very empowering in itself. And I just want to encourage you to keep going. You are beautiful. You're amazing. And I'm just excited for this relationship, for this collaboration to grow, because it is so necessary for these discussions to be had, especially with boundaries, whether it's my generation, your generation, whatever generation, it's needed, because boundaries are important, especially advocating for yourself. We saw that video of the pregnant young lady sitting in the hospital crying, she in active labor, and the nurse is just being so nasty and ugly to her. I'm glad her mother was able to record that. But advocating for yourself in every area of your life is so important. Medical, job related, career related, whatever it is. So I'm just glad we had this conversation. I love this. So many gems dropped. Yes, so many gems dropped. Y'all make sure y'all go get the journal. It is called, let me see, I got my notes here. The Shift Itself journal. Y'all make sure y'all go grab that on Amazon. It's right here, guys. Y'all can see, get it on Amazon. We had she asked me some questions. It really made me think. I loved it. I love this conversation. I just want to thank you so much. Thank y'all for tuning into Love Talk. Make sure that y'all join me here every Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I need your help. I am trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So just head on over to my YouTube, subscribe, watch the videos throughout the whole lives, watch them all out, like, subscribe, comment, all the good things. And like I always say, I don't have to be here. I get to be here. I love being here. And it's all because of you all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I love y'all, and y'all have a good night. Good night, y'all.
Bye-bye.